It was 11:47 p.m. at a truck stop off Interstate 40, the kind of place that exists in the gap between destinations. Flickering neon signs advertising diesel and coffee, big rigs idling in neat rows, and the constant hum of highway traffic just beyond the tree line. Most people stopped here for 10 minutes, maybe 15. Get gas, grab food, keep moving. Marcus Reaperstone wasn't in a hurry. At 42, with more road behind him than ahead, he'd learned that rest stops like this told stories if you paid attention. He was filling his Harley at Pump 7, his Crimson Devils cut catching the harsh fluorescent light, when he heard it. Not a scream. Not a call for help. Just a sound. A whimper. Quiet. Desperate. The kind of sound that shouldn't exist in a public place at midnight. He looked up and saw them. A man in his 30s, clean-cut in a button-down shirt and jeans, guiding a young woman toward a sedan parked near the edge of the lot. She was maybe 19, 20 at most, stumbling, her head lolling to one side like a puppet with cut strings. The man had one arm around her waist, holding her upright, and he was moving with the kind of practiced efficiency that made Marcus's gut twist, because Marcus had seen this before. Not the exact scene, but the pattern, the body language, the way predators move when they think nobody's watching. If something about this opening already feels wrong to you, type "trust your gut" in the comments. He set the gas pump back in its cradle and walked toward them, his boots heavy on the pavement. The man noticed him immediately. Their eyes met across 30 feet of parking lot, and Marcus saw the calculation happen in real time. The man's expression shifted from focused to casual, his grip on the girl adjusting to look more supportive than controlling. "Hey," Marcus called out, his voice carrying across the lot. "She all right?" The man smiled. It was a good smile, practiced and warm. "Yeah, man, she's fine. Just had too much to drink at a party. I'm taking her home." Marcus kept walking until he was close enough to see details. The girl's eyes were half closed, unfocused. Her skin had a grayish tint under the parking lot lights. Her breathing was shallow and irregular, and when Marcus looked at her arms, he saw the faint red marks around her wrists. Fresh, like something had been there recently. "What's her name?" Marcus asked. The man's smile didn't waver. "Sarah, we're friends from college." Marcus looked at the girl. "Sarah, you know this guy?" She tried to focus on Marcus's face, her mouth opening like she wanted to speak. But nothing came out except a small, confused sound. Her head rolled forward again. "See?" the man said, his voice reasonable, patient. "She's really out of it. I need to get her home before she gets worse." Marcus's eyes drifted past them to the sedan. A newer model, dark blue, clean. Nothing remarkable, except the back window had a strip of tint that looked darker than legal. And through the front windshield, Marcus could see something on the back seat. Something thin and black, partially hidden under a jacket. He moved closer, angling for a better view, and the man shifted, trying to block his sight line. But it was too late. Marcus had seen it. Zip ties. A whole bundle of them, the heavy-duty kind. Sitting on the back seat next to what looked like duct tape and a roll of plastic sheeting, Marcus's blood went cold. His hand moved to his phone in his pocket, but his eyes never left the man. "Those are interesting supplies for a college friend giving someone a ride home," Marcus said quietly. The man's smile finally dropped. "I don't know what you're talking about. The zip ties on your back seat. The tape, the plastic sheeting, that's standard equipment for you?" The man's jaw tightened. His free hand moved toward his pocket. "Look, I don't know who you think you are, but this is none of your business. Sarah is my girlfriend, and we're leaving." "Now?" "Wait. No," Marcus said simply. "You're not." That's when the girl made a sound, a weak, desperate sound, and Marcus saw her trying to pull away from the man's grip. The man's hand clamped down harder on her arm, hard enough that she winced even through whatever drug was in her system. And that's when Marcus made his decision. He pulled out his phone and dialed, his eyes locked on the man. "Ow. Reaper 2 Bulldog. I need the crew at the Flying J truck stop, Interstate 40, exit 278. Right now. And I need it quiet." The man's eyes widened. "What are you doing?" Saving her life, Marcus said. Because that's what she is. Someone's daughter. Someone's life. And you're not taking her anywhere. If you think Marcus just became a hero, drop a motorcycle emoji in the comments. Within 12 minutes, 5 Harleys rolled into the truck stop parking lot. No sirens, no drama, just the deep rumble of engines and the presence of men who'd spent their lives reading danger. Bulldog, the club president, got off his bike first. He was 61 years old with a gray beard down to his chest and eyes that had seen everything. He looked at the scene, at Marcus standing between the man and his car, at the barely conscious girl, at the sedan with its dark windows. "Talk to me." "Reaper," Bulldog said quietly. Marcus gestured toward the back seat. "Zip ties tape, plastic sheeting. Girl's drugged out of her mind. He says she's his girlfriend. She can't even stand up." Bulldog walked to the car and looked through the window. His expression didn't change, but his voice got very quiet. "Ghost, call Detective Martinez. Tell her we have a situation and she needs to move fast." Ghost, their tech guy and youngest member, was already on his phone, already texting her. "She's 20 minutes out." The man with the button-down shirt was looking around now, calculating odds. 5 bikers, all wearing cuts that marked them as 1%ers, all standing between him and any chance of escape. His hand was still in his pocket. "I'd think very carefully about your next move," Bulldog said to him. "Whatever you're reaching for, it's not worth it." "This is illegal detention," the man said, his voice shaking slightly now. "You can't hold me here." "We're not holding you," Marcus said. "We're just standing here. You're free to leave any time you want. Without her." The man looked at the girl, still barely conscious against his sedan, and something ugly crossed his face. "She's my property. I paid for her." The words hung in the air like poison. Bulldog stepped forward. Marcus had never seen his president look quite so dangerous. "Say that again," Bulldog said softly. The man seemed to realize his mistake. "I meant she's my girlfriend. I've invested in our relationship." "No, Viper," another club member said from behind them. "You said what you meant the first time." Ghost's voice cut through the tension. "Detective Martinez is 15 minutes out. She says hold position and do not engage." "We're not engaging," Marcus said, his eyes never leaving the man. "We're just making sure this young lady stays safe until proper authorities arrive." The man's hand came out of his pocket fast, but not with a weapon. With car keys. He clicked the unlock button, and the sedan's lights flashed. He was going to make a run for it. Try to get in the car and drive off before anyone could stop him. He didn't make it 3 steps. Razor, who'd been standing quietly by his bike, moved with surprising speed for a man his size and simply stood in front of the driver's door. Not touching the man, not threatening him, just standing there. An immovable object. "Problem?" Razor asked mildly. The man backed up right into Marcus. "Here's what's going to happen," Marcus said quietly, close enough that only the man could hear him. "You're going to sit down on that curb. You're going to put your hands where we can see them. And you're going to wait for the police to arrive. And if you do anything else, if you make any move toward this girl or toward that car, I will forget every lesson I've learned about controlling my temper. Do you understand me?" The man sat down on the curb. Marcus knelt beside the girl, who had slid down to sit on the pavement, her back against the sedan's door. "Hey," he said softly. "Can you hear me? Can you tell me your name?" Her eyes tried to focus on his face. "I don't." "It's okay. You're safe now. What's the last thing you remember?" "Bar," she whispered. He said, "Ride home." "Nice guy. Did he give you a drink?" She nodded slowly, and the movement seemed to hurt. "Water," said I looked. "Dehydrated." Marcus's fists clenched. He pulled off his leather jacket and draped it over her shoulders. She was shivering despite the warm night. If this moment made you angry, type "protect them" in the comments. Detective Sarah Martinez arrived in 13 minutes with 2 patrol units. She stepped out of her unmarked car, took one look at the scene, and sighed. "Reaper, why is it always you?" "Just lucky, I guess," Marcus said. Martinez walked to the sedan and looked through the window. Her expression hardened. She pulled on latex gloves and opened the back door. The zip ties, tape, and plastic sheeting were right where Marcus had seen them. She photographed everything with her phone, then turned to the man sitting on the curb. "I'm Detective Martinez with the state police. I need to see your identification." The man pulled out his wallet with shaking hands. Martinez examined his license, then ran it through her phone. Her eyes widened slightly. "Mr. David Reeves. You have a warrant out of Oklahoma? Failure to appear on charges of unlawful restraint." She turned to the patrol officers. "Cuff him." As the officers moved forward, Reeves tried one last play. "That stuff in the car I can explain. I'm a contractor. Those are work supplies." Martinez held up one of the zip ties. "These are police-grade restraints, Mr. Reeves. And this." She held up a small amber bottle she'd found under the front seat. "Is Rohypnol. 20 pills. Care to explain that?" Reeves went silent. Martinez turned to the girl, who was now being examined by paramedics. "Sweetheart, what's your real name?" "Emma," the girl whispered. "Emma Castellano." "Emma, do you know this man?" "No. Never saw him before tonight." Martinez pulled out her phone again and made a call. "This is Detective Martinez. Badge 2847. I need to run a missing persons check on Emma Castellano. Female, approximately 20 years old." She waited. "Yes, I'll hold." Her face changed as she listened. "She was reported missing 6 hours ago from a bar in Albuquerque. Parents are frantic." Martinez's voice softened. "Emma, honey, we're going to call your parents right now. And then we're going to take you to the hospital to make sure you're okay." Emma started crying, the kind of crying that comes from realizing you were minutes away from disappearing forever. One of the paramedics, a woman in her 50s, held her hand. Martinez walked over to Marcus and the Crimson Devils. "I need statements from all of you. But off the record, if you hadn't been paying attention, if you hadn't called this in, this girl would be gone. We wouldn't have found her." "We just did what anyone should do," Bulldog said. "But most people don't," Martinez replied. "Most people convince themselves it's not their business. They don't want to get involved. They assume someone else will handle it." She looked at Marcus. "You didn't assume." Marcus watched as Emma was loaded into an ambulance, his jacket still around her shoulders. "I couldn't." 2 hours later, after statements had been taken and Reeves had been transported to county lockup, Martinez approached Marcus one more time. "There's something you should know. When we searched Reeves's phone, we found evidence of 3 other abductions in the past 8 months. 3 other girls. We're trying to locate them now." Marcus felt sick. Did he? We don't know yet. But because of tonight, because you saw those zip ties and didn't let him leave, we have a chance of finding them. You might have saved more than one life tonight. 6 weeks later, Marcus got a call from an unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. "Mr. Stone? This is Robert Castellano, Emma's father." Marcus's throat tightened. "How is she?" "She's okay. Physically, at least. The emotional stuff, that's going to take time. But she's alive. She's home. She gets to heal. She gets to have a future. And that's because of you." You saved my daughter's life," Robert said, his voice breaking. "You saw something wrong, and you didn't look away. Most people would have looked away. They would have convinced themselves it wasn't their business, that the guy probably knew the girl, that it was probably fine. You didn't. Because you didn't, Emma is here with us instead of buried in the desert somewhere." Marcus had to stop walking. He was on the shoulder of a highway, mid-ride, and he had to pull over because his vision was blurring. "Akima wants to meet you," Robert continued. "When she's ready. She wants to thank you herself. And she wants to learn the warning signs, the things you saw that night. She wants to help other people recognize what you recognized." 3 months after the truck stop, Marcus stood in a community center in Albuquerque. Emma Castellano stood beside him, her parents in the front row. 50 people filled the room, mostly women, mostly young, all wanting to learn how to spot predators, how to stay safe, how to trust their instincts. Emma spoke first. "I thought I was being careful. I didn't accept drinks from strangers. I stayed with friends. I thought I was safe. But David Reeves didn't look like a predator. He looked like a nice guy offering help. He bought me a bottle of water, still sealed, from the bar. I watched the bartender open it. I thought I was safe. She paused, gathering strength. What I didn't see was him dropping something in while I wasn't looking, just for a second. What I didn't see was the calculation in his eyes. What I didn't see was the danger. But Marcus did. He saw things I didn't even know to look for. Marcus stepped forward. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to make you aware. Predators count on people not paying attention. They count on the fact that we've been taught it's rude to question, rude to intervene, rude to cause a scene. They use our politeness as a weapon. If this changed how you see minding your own business, type "speak up" in the comments. He clicked to the first slide. Here's what I saw that night. A young woman who couldn't walk straight. That alone isn't enough. People drink. But she also couldn't focus her eyes. Couldn't answer simple questions. Had marks on her wrists. Was being guided by someone who was very comfortable holding an incapacitated person. And when I looked in his car, I saw supplies that had only one purpose. An older woman in the audience raised her hand. What if he'd been wrong? What if she really had been his girlfriend? Then I would have been embarrassed, Marcus said simply. I would have apologized. And everyone would have gone on with their lives. But if I was right and I did nothing, Emma would be dead. I'll take embarrassment over that every single time. The presentation continued for 90 minutes. Warning signs. Predator tactics. How to intervene safely. When to call police. How to be a witness without being a victim. The audience asked questions, took notes, shared their own stories. Afterward, a young man approached Marcus. He was maybe 25, nervous. Mr. Stone, I just wanted to say, 2 weeks ago I saw something at a club. A girl who seemed really out of it being taken out a back door by 2 guys. And I almost did nothing. I almost convinced myself it was fine. But I remembered reading about Emma's case online. So I told security. Turned out she'd been drugged. The guys ran when security approached. Because of what you did, because the story went public, I knew what to look for. And maybe I saved someone. Marcus shook his hand. You definitely saved someone. Emma hugged the young man. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for caring enough to act. 1 year after the truck stop incident, Marcus received a letter from the FBI. David Reeves had been sentenced to 40 years in federal prison on multiple counts of kidnapping, assault, and trafficking. Evidence from his phone and computers had led to the rescue of 2 women who were still alive. In a property Reeves owned in rural Nevada, a 3rd victim's remains had been found, giving her family closure they'd needed for years. The letter thanked Marcus for his vigilance and noted that his actions had directly prevented at least 1 murder and likely saved multiple other potential victims from ever being targeted, as Reeves would never be free again. But the part that stuck with Marcus was the PS. Handwritten at the bottom, we need more people like you. People who pay attention. People who act. You're proof that everyday heroes exist. Marcus kept that letter in his cut pocket right next to his phone. He carried it on every ride. A reminder of why awareness matters. Why vigilance matters. Why being willing to cause an uncomfortable scene matters. So much more than being polite. Because Emma Castellano got to graduate college. She got to fall in love. She got to build a career in victim advocacy. She got to have a life. All because someone at a truck stop paid attention. If you've ever ignored your instincts about a situation and regretted it, type "never again" below. And if this story taught you something that could save a life, share it. Because the next Emma might be saved by someone who watched this video and learned to recognize the signs. Marcus still rides. Still stops at that truck stop on Interstate 40. Still watches. Still pays attention. Because predators are still out there, still counting on people looking away. But so are people like Marcus. People like that young man at the club. People like you now that you know what to look for. Zip ties in a back seat. Marks on wrists. Eyes that can't focus. Someone too comfortable handling an incapacitated person. These aren't random details. They're red flags. And now you know them. Emma Castellano is alive today because one biker at a truck stop knew them too and refused to look away. Sometimes the most heroic thing you can do is simply pay attention, be present, trust your gut, and be willing to make a scene if something feels wrong. Because being polite is never worth a life.